Hey beauties, good evening to you. Now, this is a very sensitive topic that, many people are grappling and struggling with because a sort of half truth, let me put it that way, has been preached in churches and even in the society, even in secular world, that if you don't forgive, God will not forgive you. Because we have been using a lot of the Old Testament, or before Christ had died, was buried, and resurrected, we would hear, if you don't forgive, God will not forgive you. So you first have to forgive before God forgives you. But after the death, burial, and resurrection, so to speak, and the different servants of God would come out, they would say, forgive one another, even as Christ has forgiven you. So it is telling a story that, look here, Christ has forgiven you for all of what you have done. Don't hold and harbor unforgiveness. However, God is a God of understanding and compassion, and He's wise beyond what we can even comprehend. I heard the very gifted, talented, and very present, Bishop T.D. Jakes said something on an interview with Gail thing. I don't know her name last name not coming to me now. That's Oprah Winfrey's best friend there, Gail. And he said one of the things that people do not understand is that, I think he was talking about forgiveness or something to do with forgiveness. But when he said it, I said, this is a very fundamental point. When you're in the operating room and surgery is being performed, when you're cut open, you're bleeding. So somebody cannot expect you to heal while you're bleeding. That's ridiculous. That's nonsensical. It's like we lack wisdom and understanding and even feeling. So if you're cut open, there's no way you can heal if you're cut open while you're performing the surgery and getting rid of whatever they need to be getting rid of, whatever infection, whatever matter, whatever it is that they need to get rid of. And you have to go through now the healing. So while the wound is open, you're bleeding, so you can't heal as yet. So when the wound is sutured up and or stitched up or whatever it is, you have to now go through the healing pain and process. So you won't see a clear skin for that period for a certain time. Similarly, depending on the situation, if it's something, me saying something frivolous, I would have to give an example. If somebody probably gets up and say, your hair is messy, and for some reason you're probably not in the best of mood, to not speak to them and give them the silent treatment for a year, for 2 years and 3 years is a bit over the top. It is not warranted. Even though you may feel hurt that they, kind of created some malady where your hair is concerned, but maybe somebody said something that really cut deep, something that tore you to shreds, something that, maybe they told you that you're not going to amount to anything, you're stupid, you're dunce. That is why your spouse left you. That's why your children hate you. That's why people don't like you. And they go on and on and on a rancor. It's going to take time for the mind to say, you know what? I remember it. So don't use a forgive and forget, the forget as in a literal forgetting. Forgetting is tied in with forgiveness. I remember what you said, but it's not hurting me anymore. I have hurt God, and I'm going to just let it go. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about as well. Hosea, this is not something that is preached in churches for, I don't know why. Man of God. And God told him to marry a prostitute. Yes, Gomer is her name. And, maybe he must have been shocked and wondering, what is God really telling me to go and do what? Marry a who? God told him to marry the prostitute Gomer. And I guess she came out of the prostitution after a while, when they got married, had their children, and living a happy life, so to speak. Her weaknesses caved in on her. Maybe she wasn't fully delivered. God allowed it for his purpose and for his glory. I said allowed. I never said caused it. Allowed it. She went back into that lifestyle and was so-called, let's put it this way, sold into prostitution. After a while, he didn't even see her for years. But he loved his wife, and it would rest upon him, my God, where is his wife? And, what has ever happened to her and all of that. He really loved his wife. And I guess he would have had his banter. Let's use the word banter, because I don't think he would be combative with God. But that sort of deep banter with God and that deep conversation and argument, you say, God, why? Why would you do this to me? Why would you even make me fall for a prostitute? And look at what has happened. People are saying, leave the woman, I don't even matter. Why are you thinking about her? She's a prostitute. You know how their lifestyle is, and she's gone forever, so forget her. And yet he cannot forget about her. He loves his wife. And God says, do you see how you feel where your wife is concerned? This is how you people treat me. And this is what I still do for you. So, what's his name? Hosea got an understanding of how we treat God. We operate like prostitutes, promiscuous. We serve other gods. We disobey him. We treat people badly. We're unkind to people. We dishonor him. And yet he still, even when time passes, God still says, no, I am going for my daughter. I am going for my son. I'm not letting them go. Even when the enemy come and say, but God, you see them, say, I'm not letting my daughter and my son go. And after certain years, he got wind of where Gomer was. And she was bought into prostitution. And when the man, he had to buy back his wife because they weren't going to give him her. They weren't going to let her free, let her go to him. He had to buy her back. And he got back his wife. He got back his wife. So God used Hosea as an example to show us that when we stray like that prostitute, when we do things and we go outside and we serve other gods and we disrespect people, we disregard people, we treat people badly, we're mean, we're unkind, and we commit all manner of evil, all kinds of malady, he says, I still love you and I'm still forgiving you. I'm still welcome. He forgave his wife, but it took time. It took time because I'm sure that he was at a crossroads where he says, oh heck no. She went back into, I imagine I already had to take her up after she has slept with several men, and now I'm going to have to go back for her after she broke the marriage vows. And it's not that she broke it and went with like one man, but you went back into prostitution. You understand? He doesn't even know she probably picked up any diseases or illnesses and whatnot. But God wanted him to understand how we operate. We operate like Gomer. Many of us, we operate like Gomer. We may think we do not. We operate like Gomer. We prostitute our spirituality. We prostitute ourselves. But God, in his infinite love, mercy, and compassion, gives us time. And then he says, you're coming back. And he forgives us. So what I'm saying to you, my beautiful people, sometimes depending on the level of hurt and the level of pain, you have to give people room to heal. If they say, just give me some time, it doesn't mean they're not going to forgive you. It doesn't mean that because if they're not going to forgive you, they will tell you straight up, I'm not going to forgive you. I am not going to let it go. What you did is too bad. You disregarded me too deeply. I cannot forget what you have done. But if they say, it's not that I'm not going to forgive you, just give me some time. I need to process this thing right. I need to deal with it the right way. Because if somebody is just got a cut, and just did surgery, and they're sutured up, meaning it's stitched up, the wound, any false move can make make the wound open up, and an infection comes in, and it gets worse than the state they were in before. It is not just a physical situation, it is also a spiritual one, it is a psychological one, it is a mental one, an emotional one. So if wrong was done to the person, it's not that they're going to be unforgiven, especially if they say that, just give me some time. Let my heart heal. Let me see you in a different light. I'm praying about it. I'm putting it before God. I'm not going to harbor hatred and malice. It doesn't mean that now, but just give people time. So this overnight forgiveness that we are promulgating, I understand, and we must work towards it. But some situations take time. As I said, if it is something that, some things you don't even hold on to. As quickly as it comes, let it go. Say I forgive you. I'm not even going to hold on. Some may take, it may be a little different. Especially if it's a case of like infidelity, horrible treatment that is consistent and persistent, incessant. It doesn't stop. Like you have somebody who treats somebody badly every day. There are holes that are going in them. It's going to take time for them to say, before they can trust you, before they can welcome you in the space and really forgive you. But they will do it. Just give them time. And when you forgive them like a brother, like a sister, like a good friend. but give people time in terms of forgiveness, depending on the situation. All right, guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, do share this message.